Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Listen, today we're going to be talking about the one and only ICP. Now, you might be thinking, what the hell do you mean ICP? Guys, don't worry, I inverted it because I'm going to show you a different perspective of ICP, right? Because sometimes people don't see when things are one way. So when you flip them, sometimes, even though it's technically the same chart, just reversed, it shows you a whole new different perspective. Look, ladies and gentlemen, right? When we would look at something like this, okay, when we would look at something like uh, this would indicate massive, massive reversals, right? We have a nice top over here. And by the way, this is on the monthly chart. So very big time frames, right? Each candle is literally worth 1 month of your life, right? 1 month of data. We can see that this is clearly the top, right? And we can see we've been getting bear rejections over here the last few months. Now, I believe, right, this would be considered a lower high if things were reversed, right, on the big time frame. That for me, this would be a lower high, and I would expect a sell-off very, very soon on this chart. But of course, in this case, a sell-off would be, if we reverse it, a pump, right? A pump. So for me, I'm still super, super optimistic. And I still believe that is what the charts are saying, despite us having a pretty weak monthly candle close, right? The monthly candle is very, very small compared to even the wicks, but I still believe that we are in the accumulation phase and that we are going to break out of it soon, right? When I flip this one more time, ladies and gentlemen, if I were to do this, we can see if I did a very, very narrow trend line from this relevant top to over here, we can see that this was practically the start of the momentum switch when we got to April time, right? We can see that we were going diagonally, right? We can see diagonally. And then now we can see the last few months we've been going sideways. So what do we expect to happen over the next few months? Well, to start going diagonally, but to this side, which in this instance, if we were to flip it, right, boom, to the upside. So for me, I'm still super, super optimistic. I did say I do believe the main pumps will be happening in August. And I did also say that I do believe that the first few days of August are most likely going to be manipulation. Look, here's the deal, people. Something like Bitcoin, we've been talking about it in the private community, and we've even made a YouTube video about it saying how there's going to be a drop off. Okay, there's going to be a drop off because there was a gap at $114,000, right? We can see right over here, boom, $114,300. There was a gap. Now we did say two things. Either it's just going to literally tap the gap in reverse, or it's going to go a little bit deeper, right? It could even go as deep as technically 109,000, and it would still be bullish. It would still be fine. When we look at something like the weekly and the monthly closes for Bitcoin, ladies and gentlemen, we can see that Bitcoin is still overall bullish, right? The monthly candle did close as the highest candle ever, right? At $115,811. And we can see that, yes, we have been going sideways once again, but I believe this is just because, we're looking to manipulate to the downside, boom. Oh my gosh, why is this not? Thank you. Can you just work? Boom, like this, right? Manipulate, possibly retest, and then continue going up higher. Right? I haven't seen any real reversal signs yet. I know people are panicking, people are saying this and this. But ladies and gentlemen, we just broke out of a zone where we were in there for months. All right. So for me, I expect Bitcoin to be making moves over the next few months. I still expect to go higher, and I expect ICP to be getting some of the pie, right? It is still not ICP's turn to be shining in terms of huge pumps like 20% a day, 50% a day, 100% a day. That's for altcoin season. Okay. That is for altcoin season. And, that's fine. That is fine. We can see, ladies and gentlemen, that, when we go on the smaller time frame, like I said, we are still relatively going sideways, but, we did get the highest weekly candle close ever in recent times at $5.97. And even though we are selling off right now, technically, ladies and gentlemen, as long as we don't close below 483, right? We don't close below this weekly candle here, this is all fine. Like this is just all fine because that means we are consistently, you can see, going to create a higher floor, right? Creating a higher floor means there is more. It's practically saying that the buyers are not letting price drop to a certain price every time there is some type of pullback. So we will see how this week plays out, but I still expect August to be a breakout month. And I still expect August for us to be looking at roughly a $7.50 at the bare minimum, like at the bare minimum. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I'm super high on ICP. I am super high on their technology. I believe, fundamentally, without too much debate, they're a top 10, top 15 coin. Easily, I would say top 10. And like, I don't understand. I don't really understand the ICP hate. I understand, there's certain coins that do better, meme coins and etc. But you gotta realize the psychology is different. The psychology is different. People like to gamble. People like to be, degenerates. I say that, but I'm one myself, right? I like gambling. I like, taking the risk in meme coins because it's fun. It's always fun. There's high risk but high reward as well if things go your way. I mean, and yeah, but look, ICP technology is great. The price action, it's going sideways. We are literally in phase two, right? Phase one is sell off, phase two is sideways, phase three is the pump, right? And there's nothing to suggest that we are going to be going lower and lower, right? There's nothing to suggest that we just went sideways for months just to sell off, right? That'd be really bad. That'd be really bad, but there's nothing to suggest it, right? Nothing. Once again, if I invert this, boom, ladies and gentlemen, we can see that even, right, the weekly candles, boom, go like this. We can see, right, in this instance, we have these tops, we have these bottoms. We created a lower bottom, right? We should probably create a lower top, which would mean we would start selling off if this was a top of something, right? If this was a top of something, this would look like it would sell off aggressively, like aggressively. Once again, it's inverted. So it going down on this chart is technically it going up, right? See, we can see that, right? Boom. I inverse it. It's like this. So, you know, I'm still super optimistic about ICP. I still hold a good bag. It is still a decent part of my portfolio. It's nothing crazy. It is a couple percent. But yeah, I'm super high on it. And I do believe August is going to be a fairly good month for us. And I don't know. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think, right? Let me know what you guys think. I know some people want to cash out at 20 bucks, 15 bucks. They think it's over. For me, is just the same things playing out. It is just the same things that are playing out over and over again. They're just on a bigger scale right now, which is why they're taking longer. But that also means we're going to be seeing much bigger and better pumps during the actual altcoin season. Remember that, ladies and gentlemen. It takes more time because we're going to be getting insane pumps. These coins, they're no longer at micro cap and small caps and stuff. They're at billions of market cap. If they want a 10x from here, 20x from here, it just takes more time. Right? Same thing with Bitcoin. Bitcoin before used to top out at 20K, then 60K. Now we're at 120K, and I still believe we have another leg to the upside. So all of this just takes time. But yeah, that is ultimately it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys did enjoy. Let me know what you guys think. I love you guys so much, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye.